Hello, good morning to you all. Once again, we are back to our studies. Today, we are starting what? Pandas. Our next library. Yesterday's library was what? Um, NumPy. And as I said yesterday, we didn't do much with NumPy. We just did a little introduction, and that was it. Yeah, that's okay with that. Today we are moving on. We are moving to our main what when we say data analysis with what Python, then it means we are actually the main library that we'll be working with is what is Pandas. Everything about data in Python is mostly about what Pandas, right? So that is what we are doing today. We've come a long way. Now we have to delve deep into our main library, right? Okay. So, as usual, we just have to. I've launched my Jupyter notebook. Let me see. Let me check this thing first. I think as at this morning, I've seen that 102 submissions so far. 102 submissions. So if you have not submitted, I think I said the deadline was what 6 p.m. So let's see. At 6 p.m. Let's see the numbers that we'll get. Okay, so that is it. So my Jupyter is launched. I just need to go to my directory. So I intentionally normally do this so that if you are launching, if you are new, you launch your notebook. This is where it will come. This is how it will be. So if it is this way, you have to move to the folder that you want. If you want to create your notebook here, straight, you can still create it here. But your notebooks will not, there will be so much disorganized over here. But as I said, always have a folder for a particular project that you want to do so that when you move to that folder you know, oh, this folder has all of these files that I want to use to I'll be using, right? So we go. You just need to move to okay. Just need to move to that folder. Okay, so yes, sorry for that small break. Okay, so I just need to let me just move to, I have my folder in my documents. If yours is in desktop downloads, you just click on it and you move. So mine is in desktop documents, so I click on documents. You see that? Then inside documents, these are different folders. The folder that I'm working is still not here. So I need to scroll down to tertiary GTL. So this is the folder. This is a folder. Then I'm in this folder, right? So whilst I'm in this folder, these were the notebooks that we've created. Someone sent a message that he or he can't open the notebook that I have sent to you. If the notebook that I've sent to you, you can't open it. You see, I said it is not a standalone. You cannot just click on it after downloading it. You cannot just click on it and you've downloaded like you open your notebook file, right? You have to you have to open it through Jupyter. Just as I'm in Jupyter like this. You see, if I downloaded this file here, if I kept it in this folder in my C drive, you see, as I'm here, I just need to click on this models. If I just click on it, I've opened the notebook. Have you seen that? So that's how it is. Just as simple as it. It's not like you don't have to, after downloading it, then you just try to open it like any other document. It will not open that way. You have to open Jupyter first, then you move to the directory that that folder is in, then you click on it. That's how it works, right? We don't just click on it directly. Mm? So you we open them through Jupyter. But today that's not the folder that I want to work with. You see, because I'm this. as I already said, a notebook that is running is always green. You see that this is green, this is not running. Okay, but that's not what we are doing today. Today is for pandas. So I have to move to my pandas. So okay, so let me create my new notebook. My new notebook. I just need to go to the right side. You see, I see upload. I want to create a new notebook here. So I just click on what? New. What's new? What's new? Is it a notebook? Is it a text file? Is it a folder or a terminal that I want to create? I want to create a notebook file, a Python notebook. You see that? So I click on notebook and straightforward, it's open a new notebook for me. A notebook that what? Want to do our pandas with, right? So as I said, why pandas? I told you to do a little research yesterday about pandas, right? So what is it? When we talk about pandas, one thing that should come into mind: data manipulation, right? Pandas is a powerful open source data manipulation what? Manipulation and analysis library. We use it to manipulate data. We use it for analysis. That is the library to go to when you are dealing with Python, right? Provides easy to use data structures and data analysis tools, making it the popular choice. That's why it is a popular one. There's another one called what? Pullers. It just came recently, right? So today we are going to look at the key features of what pandas. We'll look at how to install it. We'll look at how to import it and learn of the pandas have two primary structures that we'll be looking at. That's a series and a data frame. We'll be looking at that. So let me start by giving my heading. So I write my heading. What is my header? So we say what? Introduction. Let me introduction. Sorry. Introduction to what? Pandas. This one is no longer introduction to pandas. So we look at the I've already said how to I've already given you the intro, what it is and what we'll use it for. We'll be using it for what? Data manipulation and stuff. We look at the data structures, look at series and what a series is, what a data frame is. So, okay. So first of all, as I said, we know we have pandas, but anytime if you want to work with a library, you first need to check if it is installed. If it is not installed, then you know your libraries. But to install any library, just as we did, we just need to use what? The package installer, pip, right? The package manager, Python's package manager. We are using pip. So we just do what? Pip install what? Pandas. So if we run this, if pandas is already installed, it will just tell us the requirements already satisfied. So I run shift enter to run that cell. Pip install what? Pandas. So you see, what are they saying? They're telling me what? Requirements already satisfied because pandas is comes pre-installed in what? Anaconda. You see that? The base environment is already there. I don't need to install it. If I'm creating a new virtual environment also, that's when I will have to install it. Have you seen that? If I'm creating a new environment, that's where I'll have to install it. But with the base environment, it comes with this pandas, matplotlib, numpy, all these libraries that we use, they come bundled with it. So yes, now that we know that it is installed, we now need to what? Import it and start using it. As I said, we know how to import, right? Import pandas. That's the syntax. You import, then the name of the library that you are importing, right? So if we just say import pandas, then it means anytime we want to use pandas, we have to type this word. So as we don't want to be typing pandas every day all the time. So we're using an alias, right? We'll be using an alias. And the general one, the most popular alias that everybody use is what? PD. So we are importing what? Pandas as what? PD. So anywhere we say PD, it means we are calling what? Pandas. Anywhere we say PD, we are calling pandas. That is it, right? That's what it is. So it's important. It's important to know that. So as initially I said, this one pandas just helps us to what? Work with this tabular data. Okay. So let me run myself. I've run myself. So it means my pandas is what? Created. I've loaded my library. The next thing is what? The next thing, now that I've loaded my library already. So now it's now left with what? How to now work with this data that we are talking about. So as I said, we are using pandas to work what? If you look at the description, I said what? Analyzing what? Tabular data with what? Uh, Python and what? Pandas. We are doing it in Python with the library called what? Pandas. So if we are talking about tabular data, we are talking about just take your normal Excel sheet that you have. Your normal Excel sheet that you have. If you have data in it, Excel is made the data is made up of what? Rows and what? Columns. Have you seen that? We have rows and we have columns. That's how when we say tabular data, that should be the picture that you should have. That should be the picture that you should be thinking of. We just have what? Rows and columns. So we are going to work with that, something like that. So when we are talking about pandas have two data structures that we want to look at. The first one is what? Series. We start with what? A series first. So someone will say, oh, what a series is. You can look at the definition, yes, but look at it this way: a series is more of like a column of the table of the data that we are talking. Just a single column is what? A series. Look at it from that angle. A series is just like a column. Are we together? If you see it that way, then a column data, then you just say that's a series, and we will see it right now. So we will start from there. As I said, we're working with the table, but we first want to work with what? Just a column first. How to work with a series first. So we will we will start by creating our a series that we want. We have pandas. Pandas have so many methods. So if I say pandas dot and I press my tab, you see that I get what? The various methods, a lot of methods that I can call, right? We have data frame, data offset, but I'm looking for one method called what? Series. Series is what I am looking for. I'm looking for series. Oh, I think I've bypassed it. So series pd dot what? The series is what? Capital S. Then you see that series is there. So we'll look at how to create a series. In creating the series, we just need to give it what? You see, when a list of data, and it will use it as just the column. You see that? The list more of like a list. We've seen what? We've looked at data structure and those data types in Python, and as I said initially, I told you everything that we did, we'll be building upon it. We'll be building upon it, right? We'll be building upon it. So immediately, as I said, immediate. I've imported. Make sure I've seen someone. Godwin is saying, please, the when I click the PD, dot and tab, it doesn't appear. Just look at, make sure this is imported. If you run import pandas as pd and it is correct, if it is, if that's happened, if you have that and it is working, okay, I think someone has even seen your problem. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. So if immediately I do pd dot, then I click on the tab, I get it. The S being capital, I get this over here. So, and as I said, a list. So let me bring my list of, so we just want to create some numbers, put some numbers here. So 12, a list of numbers. So 23, 34, 45, 56, 67, just like this. So if I say I want this to be my pandas series, if I do control shift then enter, or control then enter, this is just it. You see, we are getting an output, and the output is what? More of like a column data. That is just it. You see that? So we are seeing what? This is the data that we have. And pandas have generated an index for us. You see that? An index, more of like a unique numbering. So at 0 is 12, at 1 is this. So more of like at row 0 is this, is 12, at row 1 is what? 23. As I told you, pandas, Python's numbering indexing start from what? 0. It's more, it's not like Excel starts from 1, but pandas start from what? 0. So we are seeing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you are creating your series, or if you are creating your data structure and you don't give it what? An index, Python will generate a unique one for you. The numbering will come by automatic, it will come. So this is your series, and this, you see the data type, they are all integers. Have you seen that? Okay. So that is it. This is it, and that is the way. And inside the list, it could contain any other thing, right? So you've seen that what we've done, we just created a series, and it is just there. We've we could, and Python, yeah, generated the index for us. We could do one that we will specify the series or the index that we want. Have you seen that? We could do one and specify. So let's say 23, 12, 21, 34, 5, 6, 6, 7. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when we go out, you see that? You let me show you this. So one thing too that I would like you to know, sometimes there are some of the methods you might not know how to go around it. I think you can, to get help, to get you can ask. Jupyter has a way of you asking for help. So it tells you, it shows you what and what that method, what are the inputs, the things that you can add to it. So let's say pd dot what? Series. That's what we are working with, right? So if I do this, you see I kept quotation mark in front of it, and I shift run. When I run, you see there's help here. So it tells me what this is. You see that? So it tells me this is Pandas series. It takes the data, and you realize that our the first one, let me scroll here. It takes the data. It takes the data. By default, let me scroll this one up a bit. Let me go up this way. You see this? pd pandas dot series. Then what we kept there was what? Data. The data was what we kept for there. So this is it. This is the data that we kept for there. It means there are other parameters that we could have added. You see that we could have specified what? Index. We didn't specify index, so Python generated the index for us. That's this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that? So it means in creating a new one, we could specify our own index and we'll be okay. We could use what? We could specify that, okay, I'm creating this series, but use this as what? My index. We could say that. Have you seen that? And we could even specify the data type. You see that? We could specify the data type. We could specify a name for it. We could uh so whatever that is here, you just need to what. So what is a series? It's more of like a n dimensional array with axis labels, including time series. Labels need not to be unique but must be hashable type. The object supports integer or label whatsoever. A lot of operations. So this is the help. And look at the parameters. So parameters, the data is the data, the index, the data type, the name, the boolean. So they give you an example. You see that? So we can create an example over here. But when we create when we create this, when we create this, we are good to go. Um, we create a series, we give it the data, then we specify the index. They specify the index. You see that? The next one, they specify the index. The next one, they specify the index. Copy is equal to false. So we'll be working. Just the help is always there to let you know what. Maybe if you're having difficulty with any of the methods that are there, you just need to just do question mark the name of the library, or yes, the data frame dot the method. Then you have what? The help that you need. Are we okay? Okay, so yes, as I said, the fine, sorry, I'm not finding anything. So we can specify uh maybe um an index. So we say what index, eh? So the same thing as I start typing, I just use a tab to complete it, to get the complete. So what is it? What do we want? We want another new set of lists. So it could be numbers that we would define, or we can say num1, number one. Then we go num2, num2, comma. Then we go num3. Then we go comma. Then we go num4. So we have what? One, two, three, four, five, six. Six numbers. So it means we have to give up to six. So num5. Then the last one, num6. So yes. So this is it. I've created the index. You see that? So if I run this, you should see an output. You see, we are getting what? Num1. This is no longer this one. The first one we didn't specify what. That's the first one in we creating our first column, a column data, we didn't specify the index, and Python generated the index for us. But now we've told Python that please use this as my index, don't generate yours. So now Python knows that this is what you want to use as your index. So this is still what, a series. These are our numbers. So we've listed this as what, our index column. You see that we have our index column, and the other one too is there. Are we together? Are we? Okay. That is it. This with we've just created this one, um, our data frame with index. Are we together? So the next one, if there's also a simple way we can. This was we using a list. We could also use what? A dictionary to create this thing. To create this thing, and it will be simple, right? We could use what? A dictionary to create this stuff, right? So we can just create a dictionary, and then we'll use the dictionary in creating what? A series. So let's create uh maybe the name cast to be equal to, then we go a dictionary. How do we create a dictionary? With the curly brackets. So I bring my curly brackets, then I start keys, dictionary in creating keys, then values, keys, then values, keys, key value. Dictionary is key value pair, right? So between every key and the value is a column, and between each key value, between the separate we separate them with a comma. So let's start. So we can say maybe car one, car one. Then we go to our column. Then we say car one is what? Kantanka, eh? Kantanka, Kantanka. Then we go comma. Then another car two, car two. Then we say car two. Then this one is what? BMW, BMW, right? Then we go car three. Another key. So then we go. The value for this key is what? Mm, Let me say what? Bugatti, eh? Bugatti. Is that the name? Well, let me leave it that way. Then another car four. Car four. Then we go. What is car four? Oh, car four. Which car? Toyota. Toyota. Right? Toyota. Okay, so we created this dictionary. We have what? Every key and its value. So, yep, we have about this a dictionary. So if I run this, we've created this dictionary. So if I say cars, then I run it, you see this is a dictionary. Keys, key value, key value, key value. So we can create a dictionary with this one too. We can create pandas series. So all we need to do is what? PD dot what? Series. You see that? Then we need to pass in the data. And the data is what? When we pass in the data, which is what? Cars. Because we've already named it. So immediately we say what? Control shift enter or control then enter. By default, this has been generated. You see that? By default, uh, Pandas knows that you want to create what? You are creating a series. So it automatically picks the keys as what? It automatically uses the keys as what? Your index. Are we together? It has automatically used what? The keys as what? Your index. And that's how it is, right? That's how it is. Sorry. Okay, so yes, we've created our series. So maybe let's store this one. All our series so far, we've just kept them. We just did them outside. We just did them somewhere, right? So we just give this name. Let's see, series one, series series one is equal to this. So yes, this series. So whenever we can call it series one. Then dot what and what can we get out of it? We can get maybe the data type. We can get the data objects. They are objects, right? They are objects, string columns. That is it. So series, I think we should be able to see just the index. Index. We can just pick index column. So you see the index is what? Cars, car one, car two, car three, and there are also what? Objects. There are so many other things that we can do. So basically, this is just what? A series. We can look at the shape of this. So it has four rows. So four rows, one, two, three, four. So that is a series. This is basically what a series is about, right? We'll do the next one. We'll look at the next data. Look at the next data type, and then we look at methods that we'll be looking at the main one. Are we together? We're looking at the next data type, which is the right? Okay. So as I said, this was what? This was so far so good. I hope we are beginning to see something related to what we wanted to do, right? Let me see in in the comment section, the live side, the live chat. Let me see. Let me hear from you. How is it? Are you seeing something that will be nice? uh, how is it? How is it? Give me a sign. Let me see. Give me a sign. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Give me a sign. Okay. Capital S. Yeah. 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 It's getting interesting. Yeah. Is series having dot info? Yeah. Yeah. The info is just a one thing. So you check. You see? So you call your series. So if we have the series that we've created, just do the tab, dot tab. I've seen hack easy, hack easy. Your question. So always just do this. You have this one. This is a series. So if I just do tab, I should see if there's info, it should be there. You see that? If there's info, it will be there. Sometimes, if you think of a method and you want to know it, just say. So, we've already declared this variable called what? Series 1. So, when we just use the tab, we can see that info is here. So, I just say info. Then we get the info. So, it is for, you see that? You get the info about it. So, don't worry. It is all there. Waiting to see how we can use this in data analysis. When I entered series one, mine isn't coming. Don't separate it. I didn't separate it. You've separated series and one is not separated. In declaring your variable, look at the name that you used in declaring the variable that it worked, right? The name that you declared, make sure that is the name that you are calling. So variable naming, Joanne, look at it. Variable naming, the name that you declared. Mine over here is series one. Is series one. You see that it is joined. So we're in it after running this cell. If I'm calling this series one, it always has to be that way. Otherwise, I will not get it correct. Right. Godwin, you will get it. Okay. So now let's move to the next one. The next one. We are saying what? I said a series is more of like a column data. Is that not it? So part of several columns. So now mostly the data, as I said, your Excel sheet, your this sheet, everything, they are not just one column, right? They are several columns. So what is it? Several columns makes what? The next one that we are looking at, which is what? A data frame. So that is the most important structure that we'll be working with. Data frames, data frames, data frames. So more of like the Excel table, the tabular data. That is it. It just made up of what? Rows and columns. So you have rows and you have columns. That is it. And that is what we mean when we say what a data frame, right? Object, D type O, objects, meaning it is more of like a string column. A string column. It is not a number. It is not float. It is not this. They are objects. Those are string columns, right? D type O means objects. Objects. Okay. We have to look at what our data frame. I've told you what a data frame is. Then we'll look at how to create. When we're creating a series, we just called what? Pandas dot what? Series. So in creating a data frame, we'll look at what? Pandas dot hack hack every. Please. You see, I've not, I didn't even mention info yet, right? So you get it. Let's go. So, what is in creating a data frame? We'll just need to call what pandas dot what data frame for the data frame. The D is what capital, and the F is also what The F is also what capital. Just as the when in creating the series, it was the S that was capital. So let's create a data frame. You saw in creating a data frame, we'll be making use of what we call the dictionary. Dictionaries. So we created dictionaries. We learned how to create dictionaries last week. So it will be used here. It will be it is very, very important here. Have you seen that? So let's say, let's mention, mm, uh, let's do this, right? Let's do students info. So maybe let's create student, then we say what a dictionary. So we'll need what your names, names, then the values. Then it can be a list. You see that, a list of names. So let's go. Let me use your names. We have what? Godwin. We have Godwin. We have Hannah. Then we have what? Jennifer. Jenny. Jennifer. We have Phillips. That's not it. Phillips. Then let me add another name. Hack is here. So one, two, three, four, five. Let me leave it at five. Or let me add another name. We have what? One. Oh, I went outside the list. One. Then another one. Let me just add Dennis. Dennis. Okay, so this is one key and then values. So comma, then let me drop down and give the next one. So I can give what? Maybe age. We can take what? Age, another key. Age, then eight values is not equal to this. Then Godwin's age is what? 20. Then we go to Hannah's age, 17. Then we go to Jennifer's age, 19. Then we go to Philip's age. Philip is the youngest, so we go for 16. Then we go to Hack. I give Hack 28. Then I give Joan maybe 28, 29. Then I give Dennis, let me give Dennis 35. You see that? So, yes, the same. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So yes, then let me see what again. Maybe their location, your locations. So we are just creating a dictionary first. This is just a dictionary that I'm creating, a dictionary of students' details, more of like that. So I say what uh Godwin. Let me give Godwin Kaswa. Then I give what Hannah. Let me give Hannah East Legon, right? Then I give what Jennifer. Let me give Jennifer Choco. I'll give Jennifer Choco. Then I give what? Let me give Phillips where? Phillips. Let me give Phillips Kumasi. Then I give what? Let me give Hack. Hack Bolga. Then I give Joan. Let me give Joan Takwa. Then Dennis. Let me give Dennis Tema. Okay, so I've given the this was supposed to be a list. So I didn't bring the list. So let me just keep them make it a list. This is supposed to be a list. Sorry. Okay. So yes, I think wait. Let me leave it this way. Let me leave it this way. So just three info. So that is it. So if I run, let me create my dictionary first. So I've created my dictionary. So if I call the dictionary, you see that we have the names. So how do we access elements of we know how to access elements of what a dictionary. So if I say what names, you see that I get only the names. If I want any other the ages, I just give what age, then I get what the ages. If I want the locations, I just give it what location location, then I get what the locations. Have you seen that? So yes, we have our dictionary. We've specified it. Now we want to use our dictionary what to create what um to create I mean data frame. So the next thing that we want to do, how do we create it? I said we use what pandas. We've imported pandas as what pd dot what the data frame, capital D. Then I bring my tab, I get what? Data frame. The D is capital, the F is also what? Capital. So then I just pass in the data. Have you seen that? We could equally do the question mark to just see what we need to know about it. So it takes what? The data frame. You can give it what? You can give columns and so forth and so on. You just do this and you see, you read down, then you go down. So you see what? Data structures. It contains what? Rows and columns. Have you seen that? So pd dot data frame, then we need to just pass in the dictionary, which is what student. So if I run this, just look at the output. See that? See that now? This is now related to what you guys want. Data, data. So you have what? Names, and these are the names. You have age. You have locations. Is this not what you see in what in Excel? You have your tabular data. The column. You see that when we do this, the keys now becomes what the column names. The keys. The first key was what names. The second key was what age. The third one was what location. So we've had that. We've just done that right now. And now we have what names, ages, location, and that is it. Are we together? We've just created what a data frame. Are we together? We've just created what a data frame. Hmm, I know. Okay. So yes, this is so now that we have Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I know after today, you guys will now okay, now we are now doing what? Data stuff. We are now doing data stuff. Mhm. You are now seeing something related to that's fine. But as I always said, it is Python that we are using, so you have to make sure you are getting yourself files of Python because everything that we are doing here, you see that we are declaring variables. We are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this. All is related to what? The fundamentals that we did. Because as you are declaring variables, you have to know in declaring a variable, the rules in doing this, the rules in creating a dictionary, the rules in what is this structure, all those things. That's why the fundamentals was there. We used a full week for that. Make sure you are doing it. Okay, so let me store this data frame. This data frame. So let me see. Data one is equal to this. So I've given it a name. So data one. So I've called it now. One thing, look at a data frame. How do we? You see that I can just if I want to access a single column. If I just want to bring out a single column, we just need to do this data frame, then square brackets, then I give the name of the column that I want. Have you seen that? So if I say at name, then it means I want what? At name. You see, I'm getting an error. What is key error? They are telling me key error. As we are beginning to see data frames, you'll be seeing this. If you see a key error, it means I'm currently telling pandas that okay, you see that data that I have over there. I have a column named what? Name. Show it to me, display it for me. Looking at this data, do we have a column name called name? You see that it is not, I don't have name. Mine, the column there is what? Names. But I'm saying I have a column called what? Name over there. So Pandas has run into an error. So you need to correct that. Then I get it. So you see this. When I do this, I get this. Have you seen that? When I see this, so a single one, you see this single one, I'm getting a series. So when I call just one, I'm getting a series. When there are many, then they are data frame, right? Right? I hope we are together. I hope we are together, right? I've sent some data into the groups, right? I'll equally add the links in the description of this. I'll equally add the links to those data sets in the description here so that you can download them to if anyone is not in a group, you should also be able to download. Uh, you should also be able to download it. Right. I'll keep it here. I'll keep the links to those data from. I sent about two data sets. Right. I named one pre-tech example, and I named one was FIFA data. Right. So it is good. We'll be using them in a few minutes. We'll be using it not in just a few minutes. We'll be loading that. Right. As I said, this is more of like we are viewing the column. That's what we've done. Okay. So yes, this was just a single column. So um, data one at what? Let me say age. Then I want to access only the ages too. Have you seen that? The ages too. This one, just like that. Okay. Okay, then what if I wanted to access what? The age and the names. You see that? So I need to go like this. Data one. Then my square brackets. You know the problem? Over here, if I start typing, I want what? Names, comma, age. There will be a problem. There's a problem. Oh, data. There's a problem. I'm trying to access something like this. The problem can be solved. You see, you have names, you have age, but still we are getting name error. just because the syntax, the way of accessing it, we didn't do it well. It has to be a list inside a list. So it is just this way. After bringing your square brackets, then now bring a list of your names again. So it means keep the names that you want to inside another list. So I bring my second square bracket. Then I come names, comma. Then I want age. So now let's see. You see that we get what? There's two columns. So if I now have several names, I just bring them there. So if I have another column again, all I need to just do is what? Maybe I want what? Location. Then now I don't have any problem. So depending on how I arrange it, that's how I want Pandas to send it to me. So let me do this. I've taken the names here. You see that? So it means I want the age and location. If I bring what the names last year, it means I want the names to appear last year in my output. That's how it is. Are we together? This is how it is. So I just do this. This is how we are able to what? Call each. Like we are able to view the data. So if you have several columns over here, this is a way of we doing it, right? Hmm? So we have our data. We have our data over here, and we've just seen how to view this, right? So it's okay. So we've seen the two data structures. I told you we'll be looking at those two data structures. So far we've seen how to install what? Pandas, right? We've seen how to install Pandas. We did that by going install Pandas. Then we did what? How to import it, how to work with how to work with the data structures. We did what? A series, and then we are now on what? A data frame, right? That is really great. So now that we are here, I would like us to look at the next thing. Yes, mostly data, most of the data sets you'll be loading it. Either as an analyst, they will give the data to you to work with. An engineer, a data engineer will give you the data to work with, or maybe the manager will say like, oh, um, Hamza, yeah, Hamza, yeah, I see you. You say like, Hamza, I have this data set, this data. I want you to do this analysis for me. I want to know those customers that uh the customers that buys this number of goods, this particular goods. What do you want to do with it? So mostly you'll be giving data. That's how come I send those data into your group, right? So we'll look at ways to what? Load data in what? Pandas. This was we generating data. We'll now look at ways to what? Load data into what? Pandas. How to read data. So that's the next thing. I think let me bring this picture. Let me bring this picture here so that we can will be able to do. Let me bring this picture. Where are you? Picture. No. Downloads. Okay, so let me bring this. So let me change this to what? Markdown. This is Markdown. This is Markdown. Then I bring this here. Okay, I've shown you how to load pictures in. So yes, I've shown you how to load images. So I just dragged it and brought it here. Are we together? Yeah. Okay, so yes, I have this image here for you. The image to with the methods that we have to use in loading what data. So as I said, we'll look at how to load data in what pandas. So the first thing that you have to, when you are given the data, you need to know the extension of the data. The extension, you have to know, what is it, an Excel file, is it a CSV file, is it a JSON file? You need to know that. You need to know the extension of the file before you will be able to even load it. Are we together? You need to know the extension first, then you'll know how to load it. That's how it is. That's how it works. So first of all, just we'll be loading the Excel file. We'll be loading the Excel file that is there, right? We'll be loading the Excel file. So there are two ways of doing things, right? There are two ways of doing things. So currently, what the data that I've given you, you need to know the location of the data, and keep it in this folder. Keep it. I always prefer you to keep them in what? The folder. So download it and keep them in this folder, the folder that you are working in, right? So I go, where do you have this files? Then you need to make sure you've copied or you've cut it, and you keep them in your folder. So they are in. So when I go here, we are here, right? I go up, you see, let me go back to this place. You see, I have what pretech example.xl file here. Have you seen that? If it is here, then we just need to move on to the next step, like loading it. If it is here, so let's show this method. So let's look at the method first. So if it is a CSV file, we just call this method read underscore CSV. Then you give the file name. If it is a fixed file, fixed weight text file, read.fuf. If it's a JSON, read underscore JSON. If it's a HTML file, read underscore HTML. If it is an Excel file, read Excel. Have you seen that? If it is a paquet file, read underscore paquet. If it is a SQL file, you load it with what? Read underscore SQL. Have you seen that? The same way, if you have your data frame and you want to save it to, you can save it to what? An Excel CSV file, you can save it to a JSON file, you can save it to Excel, you can save it to these extensions. So I've given this, you've seen this. This is the way it can be done, right? So let's go. We are just now going to load the data that we have. So I come here, we need to load that one, so that we'll use that one to do the next things that we want to do, our next studies on pandas, right? So I do pd dot what? Read. I said what? Read. You see, if I did the moment I type re and I gave the tab, you see, read clipboard, read CSV, read Excel, read fwf, read fg, different pickle file, read SQL BigQuery, SQL query, read an SQL table, starter, and so on. What are we reading? We want to read, our file is what? An Excel file. Our file is an Excel file. So we have to say read Excel. Have you seen that? Read Excel. Then we come, read Excel. So we need to keep it in what? The name of our file, which is pretech pretech underscore eg, right? Dot Excel extension XL XX. This, immediately I run this, if the file is here, it should load. If the file is in this location, that is it. So it was an Excel file. When you open it directly, you see that it will open in Excel. But you see, we've been able to load it into Python in pandas in our notebooks over here. So this is what we'll be working with. This is one example of we loading what? Um, Loading data over here. You see that? If it is not here, if you don't have it in your directory, you see that? So currently I don't have the FIFA file in this directory. So let me go. I want to know, let me see the directory that it is in. The FIFA file. I need to know where I have my FIFA data. I've forgotten. Let me move to document. Let me move to GTL base. Maybe I'll get my FIFA data here. FIFA, 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 FIFA. FIFA is not here. Let me go back. Let me go back to NSIP. 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 I should get my FIFA data from here. Oh, it is not here too. It is not here. Let me see. Where are you? Where did I keep you? GTL. Okay, DS. DS. It should be here. So you just need to find the file. You just need to find the file. Where are you? Oh, okay. Python scripts. You should be here. You need to find the scripts, the file. If you see the file, you just right click, right click on the file and copy the path. You see that? Right click. If you right click and you don't see copy as path, then you shift right click. Right? There are two ways. If you if you just right click on the file. I mean, this example, what I'm saying currently is when you don't have it in. I want to, let me show you something. I want to I want to load this thing. I want to load the FIFA data, but the FIFA data is not currently here. It is not in the tertiary GTL. It is either I go and copy the data, bring it here so that I will just be able to do this simple thing, that's how I loaded the data here, or I do what I'm currently doing now. I move to where that file is and I just right click on the file. So this one is a CSV file. So I just right click. Then I see what copy as path. And I'm saying if you right click on any file and you don't see copy as path, do it with what? Shift right click and you'll see it. Shift with right click, then the copy as path will come. So I copy the path, then I come back over here. So I want to show this one is a CSV file. The FIFA data is a CSV file. So when I say read, then I'll be looking for read CSV, not Excel again. So I just need to go here and say what? I just need to paste what I copied. But when you paste it this way, you see the slashes are back slashes. It has to be forward slashes. It is either you change them or you change them all to forward slashes, or you just keep an R here. You see that? So it will reverse those ones. It will solve that problem for us. So if I run this, you see it has loaded this data set for us. This is also another way, right? So I think when I loaded this data, I think it has added some unwanted column to it. So mm, index index column is equal to 0, then that problem, that unnamed 0 thing will vanish. So it is no longer there. So yes, this is also a way. So it is either you do this, you shift right click on the data and copy the path from wherever. You see that looking at this, you see that looking at the file path, it is in users, documents, GTL, Python scripts, FIFA data. But I'm in tertiary. I'm currently in documents and under tertiary under documents. So yes, that's the way you can load data in what? Pandas, right? But currently we don't want even this one. This is not what we are using. So let me um delete this. I want us to use. We'll be using this one. We'll be using only this for now. We are using the Excel one for now, right? So let's save it. Let's save it. So let me see. This is more of like sales data. So sales is equal to this, right? Sales is equal to this. So we'll then look at how to view, the ways to view, um, the ways to do with what? The ways to load data here, right? So to view data. So let me just name this. Let me just do this. Markdown. Then I come. Then I say what? I just need to view. Want to view data. So yes, now that we've loaded it, we are now coming to look at a lot of methods that we want to do with words. We want to use a lot of methods in data frame, a lot of methods that we can use on our data frame that we've created. We've created a data frame, and the data frame is what? Sales. This is it. So now, you see, when we just do this, it's more of like you get all. When we call this, we are getting all. You see that the first five and the last five appears. You see that? But let's look at other ways of doing it, other methods, other ways of viewing data. So we start with what? How to get what? The first five, one. So we see what? There's a method called what? Head. So if I do sales dot tab, you see the various, a lot of methods that we can apply, a lot of methods that we can apply. You need to experiment them yourself, one. And as I said, if there's any method, drop NE. Imagine this, we are not using it, right? I say if there's any method you want to find clarity about, just call it like this, and you do tab. You see that you get the info, what it does. This is more important than me telling you anything, right? So you just call the name of the data frame, tab, and you find this information. So you see, drop NA. I did it. So it is, what will it do? It will remove NA. I'm not saying you should run it. Currently, we are not doing, that's not what we are doing now. But I just mean any method that you've seen and you don't understand it, just put the question mark there, and you know you will get the explanation. Under Jupiter will write the explanation how you will be able to go around it. Have you seen that? Okay. So we have what? The next one, I mean the first one, we are going to do dot head. That's what we are going to do first. So you can just do this, your question mark on dot head. That's what we are doing. It shows, it returns the first n rows. The first what? N rows. By default, it is giving us what? Sales dot head. The n is the number of rows you want it to output. By default, it will return what? 5 rows. So this function returns the first n. So if your n is 10, you get first 10 rows. If your n is 20, first 20 rows. If your n is 1, first 1 row. Have you seen that? It is useful for quickly testing if your object has the right type of data in it. For negative values of n, the function returns what? Returns all rows except the last one. So this way it means you want the rows minus those ones, minus that level. So you see that that's the, if you are using the negative. So let's see, we'll see an example. So let's go. So sales dot head, sales dot what? Head. So these are methods, so you always make sure you bring what? Your brackets. So coming to think of this, so dot head, so it comes this way. So we see this, the first 5 rows. That's what the dot head does for us, the first 5 rows. So our n, because we didn't specify, our n is what? Our n is what? Is what you did data cleaning when you, I'm looking at Godwin, don't worry, we'll do data cleaning. Nothing to worry about, right? We'll do, don't worry. Okay, so sales dot head, this is the data. So we've seen, oh, okay, the data has this number, This is the like more of like a few, just the first five rows. So you get to see what a preview of the data. Okay, it has order date, it has region, it has what state, it has what category, it has what product, it has quantity, it has unit price, it has what revenue. You see that? So this is the data that you have, and this is what the dot head does for you. So as I said, we can go again. Sales dot head, dot head. But this time around, we want what? The first seven rows. So the n is no longer five. We are saying the n is what? Seven, because we are typing seven in there. So you get the first seven rows. That's what happens. We are getting the first seven rows. Have you seen that? Okay, so that is it for this. We can go on and on and on. So you just specify your n and you get the output that you want. If I say my n is 20, we'll get that exactly. We'll get 20 first 20 rows. Have you seen that? So that is it, right? Hmm. So even before we go, the next one, I said we are viewing, right? So the next one to view is also what? The tail. You see the head, meaning you are picking from the top downwards. The tail also give us the end, from the end coming, from the end coming. So if we have what? Sales, then we say dot what? Tails. By default, it will also give us the last five rows in our data. The last five rows in our data. You see that the dot tail does this for us. The dot tail gives us the last five rows. So the same way, the n is 5. So if we want, you can specify, say, give us what? The last what? 10, the last 10 rows. So this is what's happened. So we are saying pandas to give us, it should give us the last 10 rows in our data. Are we together? Pandas to give us the last 10 rows in our data set. So this is how it is. We are moving step by step, right? Johan, it is not clear. Oh, sorry. Godwin, I've looked at. I said we will do that, right? Wow, just look at that. Okay. Ah, yeah, that is clear. Okay, that's fine. So yes, that is what. So we are still on viewing the data. Is that not it? We did what? Dot head. So if I tell, oh, display the first 10 rows, then you just know you are using dot head. Then 10. Display the first 30 rows, then you know the n is what? 30. That's what you need to display, right? By default, if you don't put anything, then you are getting just the first five rows. If you are using the dot tail, then oh, okay, you want to see the last five rows, so dot tail. If you want to see the last 10, so dot tail inside, then inside the bracket you keep what? 10 there. That's what you get. You see that? So that's way the way we do the things over here. The last one that we'll be looking at is what sample, sample sample. So we have sales dot what sample. A sample, it will just pick a random one for you. I think by default this one, it will just give you one. It will just pick any random number for any random row for you. So if you want a sample of 10, so give me a sample. You want to pick some sample data from your data frame. So you want maybe what? 10, sample 10. So there will not be order. You see that all of these ones, the tail goes to pick the last rows, and the head picks the first from the top to the down, and so on. But this one there, it can be random. So you see the dot tail, this was what? Dot head, eh? So you see the indexing is from what? 0, 1 in order. But let's see this. Sample. Sample, there's no order. So because you are sample, if you've done statistics, you know this is a more of like a random thing that we have just picked any random rules, 10 random rules, and this is what we get. So that is a sample, right? So you get this, and that's what we do. So we viewed using what? Dot head, dot tail, and then we've done what? dot what sample. Have you seen that? There's also one that I need to mention, the column. So there's this dot columns. So when we do the, you call the data frame and you say dot column, sometimes you might load some data sets, and I think the columns will be so many that all will not be here, and you'll be seeing dot 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 dot. So to get the columns that you are dealing with, you just call the name of what the data frame that you've given. We are using sales because when we were loading the data, we gave it the name, we declared a variable name called what sales as that data frame. So it is here. So anytime we call sales, it is more of like that is what we've done at the top. That's what we are doing, right? I hope so far everybody is okay. Hmm? We are following. We are following so well. Hmm? I've not left anyone behind. I hope so. I hope I've not left anyone behind. Right? Let's go. If I've left you behind, just alert me now before I continue with editing on the viewing, on the loading of the data set up to we viewing viewing the data, right? Let me know if you have anything about concerning this right now. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's what said. Yeah, we are following. I like that. I like that. Columns allows you to see the columns that you are working with. Is that not it? Okay, so now that we've done that, we have to let me drink. Sorry, just give me let me drink some water. Sorry about that. Okay. Isaac said what? Is there a difference between the view we are doing and the data frame? PD dot data frame. The PD dot data frame is what we've seen. The table that we are seeing is a data frame. You see that? The view is what? It is you are viewing the same, it's more of like you are calling the table. See, the data frame is just the output that you are getting. The output that we are seeing is a data frame. I'm saying the data frame is what? The whole more of like I just see it as the Excel table, the Excel sheet that you see, it has what? Rows and columns. So if the output that you are seeing is rows and columns, it is a data frame. So even if we say dot head and it gives us just five, that five is also made up of what? Just the output is what? It is still a data frame. Just that you are just viewing just only five rows out of it. You see that the output is a data frame, but you are just viewing a section of it. You are not viewing everything. Are we together? Are we together? Hmm. Okay, so let's go on with the next one. Okay, so our next method that we want to look at is what? After we viewing this, after we seeing this few ones, we view just the top, the head, the tail, and the sample. Then we want to know something about this, about the whole data set, the information about the whole data set. I think someone mentioned info at the top. This is the time that we are coming to look at info. So info, we want to look at more of like some few information about the data that we have, right? So we have our data frame, it was sales dot what? Then we have info. So, as I said, if you want to know what info does, without a bracket, just keep what? A question mark in front of it. And what does it do? This is the output. When you call .info, it basically gives you the information about the data that you have. So look at it. it is telling us that our data has what? 244 entries. That means 241 rows, starting from 0 to what? 243. So starting from row 0 to row 243. Then the data have what? 8 columns. The data has what? 8 columns. Then it comes to give us the numbering of the columns. The numbering is here. The numbering of the columns are here. Then the column name is here. Then the non-null number, the non-null count in the data in each column. Then the data type in each column. So when you pick what? Row 1 is what? Order dates. It has what? 24 non-null entries. That means there's no null entry in that particular row. Means every row has an entry. Every row in that column has what? An entry. And the data type over there is what? Date time. It means it is a date data. So it contains dates, right? We look at the second one. So that's what the info does for you. So you see another row 1 at 1, column 1. Column at position 1 is what? Region. It also has 24 non-null entries. It is object, meaning it's a string column. We see state, the same thing, object. You see product, it is object. Then we see quantity. You see, then now that one is what? An integer. Int. You see unit price, int. You see revenue, int. So then you see the summary of the data type. So we have what? One what? Date time. We have three what? Integers, and we have what? Four objects. And then the memory usage, that's more of like the size of the data set. You see that? The size of the data frame. So this is what .info does for you. It just gives you the information about the whole data set. So your data set could be large, but this it will give you the information on it. You see that? Sales, the data frame dot info. And our data frame name is what? Sales dot what? Info. That's what happens. Are we together? Are we together? Okay. So yes. That is it for sales. That is it on info. Info does this work for us. So you've seen what info does. I've already mentioned. So if you still don't get it, then just do this. If you are still not getting it, just do the name of your data frame, which is what? Sales dot what? Info. Then this you see dot info. Print a concise summary of the data frame. This method prints information of the data frame, including what? The index type and columns, the non-null values, and the memory usage. So that's what you get, right? That's info. That's what you get, the output that you get over here, right? Then the next one that we'll be looking at is what? Dot what? Shape. The shape gives you, it's more of like it gives you it, the shape will give you what? The name of your data frame dot shape. This is an attribute. This is an attribute. So the dot shape just gives you the number of rows, row by column. You see, you get a tuple output. You get what? 244 rows, 8 columns. So that's what dot shape does. It just outputs what? The the number of rows and columns that you have in your data frame. So does it mean if the data is data frame? Yeah, I mean, if you are, what we just did is what we are just building it. This one, the first one, when we were creating that, we use pd.data frame to create. If you want to create a data frame, that's when we use that. But this one, as I said, we are being given data. That's what I sent into your groups, and you have it in your, you have a file, Depending on the extension, if it is ours is currently an Excel file, so read underscore what Excel. That is the method that we are using. Have you seen that, Daniel? That is the method that we are using. So pd dot read underscore Excel. Then we give the name of the file in the quotation marks. You see that in quotation marks, the name of the file in quotation marks. Then that is it, right? Okay. So you get it from there. That's how we do it over there. Then the next one that we'll be looking at is what how to the next method. The next method that we'll be looking at is what let me see. Describe. Describe is another fantastic method in pandas that is very very good for us that we'll be looking at. Um, it is used to what it gives us what the statistics of the so statistics more of like the minimum, the maximum, and all those sort of things. So if you have what numerical columns, mostly I will do that on the numerical columns. It gives basically you can get some statistics like the count on the non-numerical ones, but mostly it is important to work do these ones on concentrate on the numerical ones. So dot what describe like this. So when you see df your name of your data frame dot what describe, this is what happens. So looking at our data frame, when you saw the info, you saw that quantity was an integer, unit was an integer, revenue was an integer. So when you call on describe, you see that describe is dealing with those numerical columns. So you see this quantity, then you see the count, how many entries. So you have 204, 244. Unique also have that same entrance, revenue. So what is the mean quantity? The mean. So you see that we are now starting to see what this they described as. So the mean value in the quantity, the mean price, you are getting it here. The mean revenue generated is here. You see the standard deviation of the quantity 47. We are seeing for the price to we have 192, then the revenue to 22,000 and so on. And we are seeing the minimum quantity is 20. The maximum quantity is what 306. We are seeing the 75th percentile is what 80. Then we are seeing the 50th percentile 47. We are seeing what the 25th percentile, which is what 31. So this that is what the describe gives does for us. It gives you this summary, this statistics for you. Are we together? Are we together? I hope we are together, right? This is what dot describe does for us, right? So we have so far this is what we've done. We know how to bring take view a column from the data and so on, right? So we have let's go. So far I hope I hope we are still together. I hope we are still together. So yes, we had our entries. Mm, okay. So what do we have to do? We've already looked at how to select rows in how to select a few columns in so I said what the syntax was how to see the name of your data frame, then you bring what square brackets, then the column name, right? So maybe you want this column, then you bring it. If you have what if you want what several columns, then you have to make the square bracket too, then you list the columns. So you list the columns, This is the syntax, right? So looking at this, let me change this to what? Raw. So that it is just like that, just there. That is the syntax. So now, if you want to select, we have sales, right? Let me bring, I want to know the columns that we are dealing with. So let me bring this one, df sales dot columns. Then I come here. So sales, I just want what? I just want the region. I just want what? The region. Oh, it has to be in quotation marks. I just want the region. Then I want maybe the state. Then I want what? The quantity. Then I want maybe revenue. That's all. I just want this. I don't want the rest again. So if I do this, you see that you get this output. That is just how what we are talking about, right? So when you get this, you have this. You see this output is also what? A data frame, right? So with this data frame too, you can equally do a whole lot another set of things with it, right? So always know how to work with this. The next thing that we'll be looking at is what? We've seen how to select. Yeah. So yes. So we'll look at how to add what? A new column. How to, when you are given some columns, maybe you might want to add a new column to what you have. Are we together? You might want to add a new column to what you have. So how do you add a new column? You can create new columns. You can add new columns to your data frame anytime. Are we together? But even before we do that, let's look at how to save. You see the picture, the image above, we saw how to load the data frame. So sometimes after doing your cleaning or some other measurements, you like to save your data frame. So if you want to save the data frame, you just need to call the name of the data frame that you have dot to how do you want to save it? Do you want to save it as an Excel file? Do you want to save it as a CSV file? Do you want to save it as what? You just need to specify. I want to save it as a CSV file. If you want to save it as a CSV file, you just call. If you want to save it as an Excel file, just call. Then into brackets, then you give the name. So let's say tertiary. That's all. You just do this and you have your name. So if I run, I have saved it. So tertiary is now, there should be a CSV file name for tertiary. So if I go here, you see tertiary is here. It's supposed to be tertiary. I didn't add the extension. Let me just go by it has been. So let me say .csv. See that. So when I go here, it should be there at tertiary.csv. This one was also a CSV file, but I just want the extension to be there. See that. So that is it. So you'll be able to save one, two, you'll be able to load some two at the same time. So that is it so far, right? Let's look at how to create the new column. Let's look at how to create the new column that we are talking of first. So yeah, so adding a new column. So looking at our data sets, we have what? Uh, so we have revenue. Revenue has been created for us already, but we just want to try something out, right? Revenue has been created for us, so we just want to do something. We just, even though we have revenue, but we are looking at a situation whereby they give us those numbers, those two things, without what? Creating a revenue for us, and we had to create our own revenue. You just need to mention the name of your So let me see. We are adding what? A new one. So let's give the name. Then you see, we can just give the name of the new column that you want, right? The name of the new column. So maybe tertiary. Okay. So mm, average price. So let me say mm, um amount total. So let me just say total sum total revenue. Then we say this is equal to, then we can do some mathematics here. Have you seen that? We can do some mathematics. We can say we want to multiply. So you first, let's do it without naming it first, so that when we are done. So sales sales at what quantity? We want to multiply the quantity and quantity, sales dot quantity. That means we are calling the column in the quantity. Then we say what? We want the columns times the unit price. Unit unit price, right? Price. So when we do this, you see this, we get this. This is the output. It is just take the quantity of each row and multiply it by each unit price. So it means we can, when we have this, then we can say, oh, create this new column and a column named this, and this should be the values. So this values is more of like a list. Then we are saying use this as this column. So we can say, so now we say sales at what? Average. So maybe the word I use total rev. That is it, total revenue. And this is equal to this. So when we do this, you see that. So now when I call sales, you see that I have total rev, which is a new column that I have created. So if total revenue was not there, and we could have just calculated the total revenue, which is by just multiplying the quantity and the unit price. A price of one bar a carrot is what? 596. And if this person bought 33, then this is the revenue that the person paid. We generated from that order. You see that? So that is it for we creating what? We creating a new column, right? So in creating a new column is just as easy as you want, right? So let's see. This was we could have also, let's try to do something um with the product. We can just add the products and the category to. Let's say we want to just do that. It can be anything. Category, right? Hmm. Category, we can say plus. Then maybe sales at what? This is more of like string concatenation. So product. So the string concatenation that you did, it is important. So you see that I've just bars carrots. So if you want to make it nice, we can bring some underscore here. Have you seen that? So we get what? Bars underscore carrots, crackers underscore whole wheat, this one underscore this one underscore this one underscore this. See how beautiful this thing is becoming. Have you seen that? Have you seen that? Hmm. So that's how it is. So after creating this, we can equally say, oh, create a new column. We can create a new column and give, say, the name as what? Cat Pro. That's mean a short form of category and product, right? Cat Pro. Then we say that is equal to this. So the same way, if we now call our data frame, you see that we now have what? Cat Pro there. Cat Pro also here. And that was just the mixture of this one and this one, the category and the product. You see, so we've been able to create what? You can create new rows. You can create new rows depending on what you want to do, right? So now that we've been able to create rows, let's look at how to also what delete rows to from what the data frame that we have. We can equally what delete rows that we don't need from our data set. Column. We are deleting a column first, right? Let's see how to delete it. Delete a column from the data set that we have. Are we together? So let's do that first. Then I think when we do that, I think that's tomorrow, right? We'll leave it here and continue tomorrow. It should be very good. Very good. We'll continue tomorrow, right? So let's see. We have a few columns. Currently, we've seen that we've added some unnecessary columns that we don't want, right? So we just have to let's delete them. So how do we delete a column, right? We just use what the drop. There's a method called what drop. So sales dot what drop drop sales dot drop. You see that? So we bring after sales dot drop. I think it is this sales dot drop. Then you need to name what the column that you want to drop. So if it is a single column, you just give this one. You just do this and type the name. You just do this and type the name. Yeah, so we have what is the name? What is the name of this? I think total rev, right? Wait, let me just do this. Sometimes when you don't need to always look, just call sales dot columns and to get the names of the columns there, right? So sales dot column, I just copy this. Let me just copy this out. This is the column that I want to delete. So I just come here, I paste it. So this is what I want to delete. So if I run this, there will be issues. Key error. Key error may because what by default the drop works with mostly tries to drop rows. Drop tries to drop rows, but currently we want to drop what a column. So to tell pandas that you want it is a column name that you are giving, then you have to what specify and say what the axis. And in pandas the rows are what zeros and the columns are ones. So rows are zeros and columns are ones. So we just say axis is equal to what one, meaning it is a row that we are a column that we are deleting. So when we do this, you see that this comes like this. It comes simple. You see that the output we are seeing order dates, region, states. Then there's no longer what total revenue here. That has been deleted. That has been deleted. So it is now left with what this. But let's see something. Let's look at something. When we come here and say sales, you see something. You see that total revenue is still there, just because we didn't do something. We just did it in the air. We didn't save it. So to save this thing, it is either we say there are two ways. Either we say sales is equal to, so it's more of like you are saying my new sales there. I have the sales there, but I'm redeclaring of variables as we were doing declaring. When you say a is equal to 5 and you go down and say a is equal to 10, a will now be equal to the new 10 that you've said. So we already have sales over there. But now if you say sales is equal to this, then that will be what is there. I don't normally want this. You see that? I don't normally like that method. The method I want is you come inside here and say what? In place tab. In place is equal to what? True. So it means it should replace what the sales that is there. So if I run this in place is equal to true, then I now come and run sales. You see that now there's no longer total revenue here. You see that? That is the way we delete stuff. We delete. That is when it is just one. If there are many, you just need to do what? Use dot what? Drop, then you go here you pass a list of the names. So currently we want to delete what, so let me pass a list of things. Maybe I want to delete region, I want to delete region. Then I want to delete what? State, state. Then I want to delete what? Cat pro, cat pro, right? So if I say I need to specify that these are what? Uh, I need to specify the axis. Axis is equal to 1. So if I do this, you see the output. Region is no longer in there, state is no longer here, and cat pro is no longer here. I didn't keep the index is equal to the in place is equal because I don't want to delete all. I don't want to delete the state. Let me just take them off. I want the state to be there and the region to be there. So yeah, I can say now in place is equal to what? True. So you see, if it is 1, so by default, why you can even start uh, doing it with just the square bracket. Invalid something I didn't close. You see that syntax error I didn't close here. It means EOF. That means I didn't close some parentheses or I didn't close the bracket. It is a bracket I didn't close. So when I run this sales, I've now dropped the cat pro. So sales, and now we are back to our original. So yes, I think I'll leave it like this. Then we'll continue tomorrow. Then we'll look at how to select data rule wise. So we want to pick some particular rule of data and all those sort of things. So selecting data rule wise, we'll look at that, right? With the lock and iLock, other methods like unique and unique, value count, a whole lot. Yeah, there's more that we'll be doing, right? There's more that we'll be doing tomorrow. So if you have any problems or any issues with what we've done so far, let me know. Right? Yes, Alasan is asking a question. So without the bracket, and most of the things that we did are methods. If it is a method, then you have to bring the bracket. If it is not a method, then if it is an attribute, that's when we don't bring the so but most of them are methods, right? Right. So you try you see, I want to see my just look at the difference between a method and an attribute. Attributes, you look at the attributes of God, those ones are more of like, you see, the method more of like that's something, it's more of like an action something. It tells the data frame to do something. So describe, it's more of like it's calculating the summary statistics and all those things. So all those things, those methods that are more of like action words, those ones has brackets. But shape, the shape is there, it already have, so you are just it just gives you the shape and all those sort of things. Dot head is a method because you want it to do something, you want it to pick the data set and then give you some number of rows, give you some all those things, those are methods. So yes, yes, I think if you have nothing, no question for me, we'll leave it here and we'll continue tomorrow. Please tomorrow make it a time. Those that have those, if you've not gone through all the stuff, now that we are starting Pandas, make sure you take it serious. Practice more because yeah, this is the work. This is now the work. You need to enjoy this. Mm. Let's meet tomorrow. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Right. Bye. Okay.